everyone. Welcome to Poor Choices. I know this is a Dadcast, but I realized
we have
Echo's
no
coming up.
dads.
We have no dads.
We have no dads.
I had a person in mind, and Echo came out, and let's just say Echo takes priority. So
Typical
we're here.
dad behavior. Priority for a woman. God.
Yes. John says, I love this thumbnail. Sisters confirmed. If the Mr. guy in the thumbnail is the dad, then I wonder which of you is adopted. Which one of us would have been adopted? Probably me. Asian baby, come on.
I was like, oh, little Vietnamese baby adopted. Yay.
Rescued from turmoil and starvation.
War-torn country.
No.
I did my part.
It's either that or a black baby. Sometimes it's like it's one of the two, I find, right? When you're like doing like a very oh, I lost connection with my cam. Oh, there we go. We're back. I lost my idea now too, what I was saying. Well, anyways, I'm Mixer Girl. This is Tugs, and we're here.
And we're canceled on YouTube. Sorry.
Oh, we're talking about black babies and Asian babies, you know.
Yeah.
It used to be black babies in the 90s, I think. And then
because of
changed.
those Africa third world country videos all the time, which is $1 a day can save this child. And you're like, oh, that's so sad. I want to adopt one of those.
Honestly,
and then it was the Chinese babies for the longest time because they were unaliving all the girls. Boys? I don't remember now, but
the girls. Boys are primarily the ones that the parents wanted to keep, unfortunately.
It was a hard time in China.
Which skewed the population, so yeah.
Yeah, it didn't work for them in the long run, but a lot of American couples got some adorable Chinese babies, so kudos. Thanks, China. Appreciate it.
So I thought in lieu of not having a guest, we could talk about where we came from in terms of like our dads and, just talk about the things that we loved, maybe didn't like, all the good things, or bad things, whatever it is, just a honest conversation of where we came from and what brought us here in pertaining to our fathers. So before we start, thank you, Jonathan, for the one gifted Poor Choices membership. Thank you so much. Yeah. Yay. Yeah, you're walking into a therapy session, essentially, Tom.
We're talking about absolutely true statements about adoption. Okay, go look it up for those of you who are too young to remember.
Tugs
and our dads left and never came back.
Alan didn't come home. So I got adopted by Tugs's family.
Yeah.
And then shipped off to Canada.
And then my dad never came home from milk. So it's fine. It's all right.
Oh, so we're twinning. Twinning. Oh,
my dad's gonna be like, what's wrong with you? It's a lot. It's called childhood trauma, Dad.
A lot of things. And thank you, Psychotic Mongoose, for the one gifted Poor Choices membership. Thank you. So if you have any questions, I should actually put that in the chat here. A Q&A. Any questions about our dad? And I say dad as in singular because,
just the one dad.
Yeah.
Just one.
So I guess we should do like a little background on our families. Do you want me to start or do you want to start, Tugs?
Go ahead.
Okay, so I grew up, two parents married at the time. I have an older brother, a younger brother, and of course, I am the middle child. In many Asian households, it's very traditional in a sense. So a lot of things that, my parents taught me was like a lot of homemaking stuff, cooking, cleaning, blah, blah, blah.
Mm-hmm.
And I took care of my brothers a lot. I cleaned for them or cleaned after them, let's just say. And, they're pretty much similar to F&T boys. The one person that I think really resonates with me a lot is Disprue. He reminds me so much of my younger brother, which is why I always tell him, like, I like making you feel uncomfortable, but like I do that with my younger. I razz him a lot too.
So you're like that new director for the Star Wars movie. I like making
Charmine. I feel I'm on that same wavelength. Except it's just certain people when I know that we're friends and it's not going to be creepy, but I feel like her thing is more creepy.
Yeah, it's really creepy.
So essentially my parents were together up until a couple years ago, less than 5 years ago, and so
Oh
it's been
wow.
kind of interesting navigating that a bit. And I know like your family, I don't know when they separated or how
Oh, I
long they
was
were together.
10. Yeah, I was 10.
Oh, so I mean, for me, I kind of wanted it to happen
Mm.
because they were fighting so much and they didn't seem very happy. Whereas
Oh
I'm
yeah,
sure
I can see that.
your perspective on what you went through is a lot more, keeping the family unit together. Because, yeah, what kid wouldn't, right?
I mean, yeah, I know. I don't remember a whole lot, to be honest, but according to my mom, I asked her like when they were going to get divorced because it was kind of the same thing. You know, they were always fighting and whatnot. But looking back at it now as an adult, I don't know if I don't know. Without revealing too much, I don't know if that A, I ever asked that, and B, if that was the right decision. You know what I mean? So
Yeah. So you
they
saw a lot
can
of
write
fighting when
about
you
it.
were younger that you can remember?
I remember them arguing. I don't remember. I honestly don't remember a whole lot. I remember them arguing, and I remember there being a lot of tension. Not really arguing. There's a lot of tension in the house. A lot of
Mm,
like you know how you can feel it. And so
mhm.
it was just finally like, when are you guys gonna get divorced? Because I can't. Like you guys are driving me crazy. Like this is not fun to look
Wow.
at.
So you asked before they
According to
actually.
my mom, yeah. Mhm.
Wow. And
Yeah.
that's the
I don't
crazy
remember
thing
it,
is
but
kids are so blunt, I guess is the word,
mhm.
and honest. And I guess you have been exposed to what even divorce is at that point too. I don't know
I
if you
mean,
have
I
any.
think so. I wish I could remember more, honestly. I wish I could remember more, but I don't even remember asking her that, so I take that with a grain of salt. But yeah, so and then it was awful after that. So I'm not sure it was the right
Oh.
to be honest. It's not funny. We don't laugh because it's funny. We laugh because we're traumatized. um,
Texas is like, my therapy bill is going up right now because we're talking about
Yay!
this.
Can't
Oh
wait.
no.
But yeah, it just was not the best. And also, I'm sorry, we're detouring for I don't know why my camera is so bad. I can see it on the replay. I'm so sorry for you guys. But anyway, um, yeah, I don't know that it was the best. It's hard because you want to keep the family together as like a nuclear family, and I think that was in your best interest in the end. You know, you guys is best, your kids is best, you as kids, you guys is best interest. You know, you were older, you can cope with it better, and like whatever. But at the same time, like who wants to grow up in an environment like that too? You know what I mean?
Hmm.
So I don't know. People are, that's a big hot topic now. Like, oh, stick by your man and blah blah blah. But then it's like, well, when the kids are involved, I don't know. I see both sides to it. So,
I agree with that, and especially when I was in my teen years,
mm,
like I still thought in my head, I think they're gonna separate. There's no way they fight often. They
mhm.
but you can tell it's just not easy for them to communicate. And most breakups, regardless of if they're married or not, are what's the word for it? It's like a breakdown of communication. Wow. Hello, Chris. All I heard was a card. What did I walk into? We're talking about our dads, which is really
Dad.
awkward now, given what you heard. So, yeah. Yeah. So, yeah, in divorce, we're talking about divorce. It's really
Yeah.
hard when you're just, you have no control over
Mm.
that. And I mean, did you from your parents, do you think you remember these types of talks from even early on, or your mom had told you or dad had told you?
About divorce.
Mhm. Or just, like,
Um,
even seeing a breakdown in their communication affecting you?
I'm trying to remember. I don't think so. I don't think so. I just remember, all I can remember really, because I was young, and also I think I blocked kind of a lot of it out, but it was just a really dark environment, right? Like kids can feel, you can feel when you walk into a room and you're like, whoa, what
Mhm.
happened here? I can cut this
Ah.
air with a knife. You know what I mean? Like you could feel it, and it was feeling like walking on eggshells, and around the house and things like that, which later I heard one story and then it was, anyway, that's a whole nother argument. But it was just not, it wasn't a happy home all the time. It was,
Mm-hmm.
you know, he was a police officer, so he worked nights, which is fine. So we would sleep all day, and I remember my mom being like, we had to be very quiet, and we like tiptoe around and all this stuff. But that was over exaggerated because that's not how I remember it. And so there's like all these jumbled memories of what I do remember and what I was told and what actually happened. It's all jumbled. But I do remember just being like, oh my God, I can't take this anymore. Like my sister is 3 years younger than me. She's all screwy. And then you can't take it anymore. So it's either go fix it or get the divorce. And of course, as kids, all you know is divorce is like, oh, mommy and daddy are separated. You know, don't really know what that means. And so we just went from there. And so for us, it was a lot of, all I kept feeling was just this tension in the house. And that was probably when I asked her, and she says there was more to it. I don't remember. So I honestly don't know. I don't know the breakdown of communication. I know that they didn't really talk much. I do remember that towards the end, but yeah.
Very interesting. And because Chris is in the chat, I just
Hello, Chris.
remember what he said when he said that his when he and his ex would get into a fight, and they would have already, you know, resolved the issue, not in front of the kids. And if they had the fight in front of the kids, they would resolve it in front of the kids, like pretend. I'm like, that's really nice, because I think about the fights that my parents had. And
yeah, I don't remember any resolve. I'm not saying
no.
it didn't happen, but I don't remember any resolving as a kid. I remember there being like comments or things being said or an air, like you hear something, and even you as a kid is like, ooh, I don't know that's, you know what I mean? Like, ooh. But yeah, I don't remember a lot of making up. And that might have had, and maybe they didn't. I don't know. You know,
That's true.
like that's
a
a
possibility.
big part of it. So I don't know.
Yeah.
Gosh, I wish I could remember more. I probably should have like done meditation to go back.
Reach into those memories back
Yeah,
there,
reach
deep
into
in your
memories.
mind. Yeah. I definitely agree, Chris. It's important to for kids to see you. They learn everything from your behavior, which is very true. Because it took a really long time for me to because my parents had fought a lot. And I don't know if you were like this too, to reprogram my brain to not get so upset so easily about like the small little things. Like,
in general?
spills. Oh, it's not a big deal. We just have to wipe it up now. But before,
yeah,
cleaning.
Yeah, I still get, even as an adult. Sorry, Duke. I still get like frustrated over little things. Like I was super frustrated the other day, and my internet was being wonky, and the stream wasn't working, and I was like, ah! And he's like, "Oh my God, people are dying in China. Like, relax," you know, kind of thing. And I'm like, "Yeah, but you know." So I still do, but it's a lot less than it used to be, because you know, as a kid, that's the only way you know how to get a reaction is to lash out almost, or to be depending on what's going on, you know. And so I had both situations too. I had walking on eggshells, I had try not to make a parent mad, I had all of those things, and so it was a lot.
Were you closer to your mom or dad when pre-divorce?
My mom was a stay-at-home mom. Where are my red pill people at? You ready for this one? My mom was a stay-at-home mom for the longest time, until the divorce. And we had a blast, as far as I remember. I remember nothing but good things when my mom was a stay-at-home mom. She cooked all the time. I still use some of her recipes. Although some of the recipes we thought were like homemade are actually on the back of like the onion soup mix box. So thanks, Mom. But anyway, kind of thing. And then once the divorce hit, I don't want to bash my mother, but she pitted us against my father. And so then it became my sister and me versus each other, because my sister got close with my dad, who we only saw every 2 weeks. And I stayed close with my mom because I believed her. And so she turned me into her best friend at a very young age. I went from being a daughter to a BFF to a grown woman very young, too young, some might say. And So that was fun. But now I'm very close with my dad, so which is good.
So
So yeah.
I guess so post 10 years of age, you've become best friends with your mom. How did you feel about your dad prior to becoming like an adult then? Like in that sense that you said
Dad,
that things or whatever
like before the divorce or during the divorce?
uh, during and after.
Um, we didn't really, I didn't really, God. So before the divorce, I didn't have any problems with my dad. My dad was cool. He was a cop and we had fun and you know, he was great, loved him. And then during and after for many, many years, it was it was this. Women use kids as a weapon. Yeah. It was a lot of this. And I was just never close with him. And my sister's always been kind of a tomboy. So she bonded with him in the young age that way. And they would wrestle in the kitchen. Like she was taught how to shoot a gun younger, and they would go fishing and like all that stuff. And I didn't have anything common with him for a long time. And, you know, I don't know that I tried, to be honest, because all I was hearing was my mom being like, well, he's terrible and he's this and all men suck and blah, 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 like all that stuff. So it was kind of like, that's how we grew up. So that is the unfortunate side effect of getting divorced when you're younger.
And did your dad try to create a relationship despite all that? Or what's your perception of that?
No, oh yeah. Well, and maybe I don't think I saw it at the time, but as I got older, I started seeing things for what they were or what they could be because things weren't linking up. And my dad honestly did a great job. Did a really great job in trying to keep us engaged and trying to not bash my mom, especially in front of us, you know what I mean? And not be that guy.
Kind of.
And we did all kinds of fun stuff. And he didn't really have a whole lot of say, unfortunately, you know, not having the main custody. He only had secondary custody. So he didn't have a lot of say in how we grew up, how we were raised, any of that. But he would try his best when he did have us. So he did what he could.
Can you give examples of like what he did or tried to do or when it became successful? Because I'm not actually very curious about that.
I'm trying to think of like specific examples, but so okay, let me think about it. I'm trying to think of like a specific one. I might have to come back to it. But he would, we only saw him 2 days, right? We had Friday and Saturday, or Saturday and Sunday, I think it was. Yeah, so he would pick us up Friday, or my mom would drop us off Friday night, and we had Saturday, and then we'd go home Sunday. So it really was only a day and a half. So we would, you know, be kids, and he would try and just instill whatever lessons he could at the time. And it was, you know, be respectful of the job interviews, or I don't know, little things like that, because he wasn't there for the hard lessons because he didn't have primary custody, right? And so he wasn't there for us to go through the boy thing and all that stuff. But when it came to boys, he'd be like, well, you know, guys are this way and don't believe everything they say or whatever.
Say it, you know, I was young once. Hear it.
I don't believe everything they say. He was like, I was young once. I remember what it's like to be a young boy. This is why, you know, boys scare me. You guys dating, blah, blah, blah. Things like that. I don't remember the exact lessons, but it wasn't until, for me anyway, and I think my sister was probably sooner, but it wasn't until I was probably too old, well, not too old, but I was probably older than I should have been, late teens, early 20s, that I kind of looked back over everything from the divorce all the way up till now and things that I was told that my mother had said and all this stuff. And I'm like, none of this is clicking. And my dad and I had a pretty serious talk, and it was the first time I've ever seen him cry. And he just was like, I've been waiting for one of you. So I don't know if Kelsey, if my sister did first, Kelsey, I don't know if she did first, and he was just kind of like, oh, I've been waiting for this, you know, for both of us, or if I was the first one and didn't really realize it, to kind of come forward and be like, hey, I have questions. Like, I have questions about this, and this. I have questions about this. Like, I was told this, but this doesn't match up with this. Like, as you get older, the thread starts to unravel. And so my dad couldn't do anything. He couldn't be a dad because the way the divorce was going was every little thing that he did would end up in court while the divorce was going on. And then afterwards, he only had a couple of days every other week to really raise us, but all it was really being with us. And so instead of instilling lessons, he would put little lessons here and there, like when it came up, but instead of like being an actual, full-time dad, where those lessons come up all the time, and you pick your kids up from school and you're like, oh, so how was your day? And you're like, oh, I got bullied because of whatever. And you get a life lesson, that kind of thing. He couldn't do that. So he spent his weekends just spending time with us. We did adventures and we hung out. We would watch TV. We would play the Tomb Raider games, whatever. And so I didn't get that father figure in a sense, because
surface level from the
it was very surface level, and it wasn't his fault. I'm not mad at him or anything for it, but I didn't get that because he didn't have the time. He doesn't have the time to raise us, if that makes sense. So
I totally get it, because it's just like relationships or just friendships. The more time you spend with someone, the deeper you can get into these conversations, because you're not just going to go up to someone and be like, all right, I'm going to tell you all my deepest, darkest secrets, or the things that I'm worried about and I need help. You really do need that time together. And I mean, back then too, we're going to like 90s and early 2000s, communication wasn't as easy. You couldn't just call someone up. Well, maybe you kind of could, but then you're fighting whoever else is on the line too if they need the phone. I remember those days.
Oh, yeah.
Or if someone's using the internet, then you can't use the phone. And
dial-up.
Yeah, that was so fun. Something
Get
like
off
that.
the phone. I'm trying to get on AOL Messenger.
Yeah, hang up the phone, Mom. I'm on here with my boyfriend. But anyways, I definitely never said that around my parents.
No, you did the acronyms. What was the acronyms? You had like instead of LOL and things like that, you had like PH. Yes, or whatever, like parents home don't speak, or so I don't know, something stupid. I can't remember the actual acronyms.
Not have that. I wasn't
smart
enough. Oh my god.
I'm trying to remember what they were. Oh gosh. Instant.
But it's very interesting how you grew up, because you're kind of like the quintessential family the red pill is like trying to prevent, I guess.
Oh no, absolutely. I get it. When these guys talk about like the divorce and all that stuff, and like listen, I've lived it. Okay, I've lived it. So I get it. I don't want this to turn into a bashing session.
No.
But I get it.
But it just I'm going to specifically talk about you, where it does help having two parents in the household. But if you cannot work out as a, family unit, mom and dad, then, I've heard like actually good, successful, healthy divorces. It's not easy. Where the parents remarry or maybe not, and then they still are amicable.
That's it.
PIR, parents in room. Oh, see.
So we would be talking about boys or whatever, and it'd be PIR.
Yeah, I definitely didn't know that one. Well,
there's more advanced ones than that. That's like one of the most simple ones, but yeah. PIR.
God. I'm trying to think, like when my dad, when we were growing up, I feel like because he worked too much, it was hard to build that relationship. I was definitely closer to my mom, and I think that's one of the detriments to maybe having the dad always away, or if he's always working, or in your case, working at night, sleeping during the day. Did he in the daytime like 9 to 4, or was he like 3 to 10?
No, he worked graveyard, and I can't remember exactly what time we went to work. He had to be in work, but I remember his breakfast was dinner. So I know he got home on average, if it wasn't a crazy day, because again, cop. If it wasn't a crazy day, he was probably home around 7. So I would guess 7 to 7 was probably his shift or somewhere around there.
Oh God, 12
for 12 hours. Yeah, and then so he would come home like as we're getting ready to leave for school, or when we're little, just getting up and sleep all day, and then get up for shower, and then have dinner with us, and he would go to work. So, but on the weekends, like he got up normally. because he would have, I think it's when you're 12, I think you get 3 days off a week guaranteed.
Yeah.
I think.
Well, at
Yeah.
least
So he would,
3 to
yeah.
4,
So
I
he
would
would,
say.
spend the weekends, and he would be up on normal hours on the weekends, and he would do his dadly mowing the lawn and all that housework and blah, blah, all that stuff. And
Yeah.
then, we would spend time together, but
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah. No, I get that. One of my coworkers, he told me this, and I think this is very interesting for those who have shift work, because I do know it's a lot harder, especially if your kids are super, super young or if they're like in their teen years. But working night shift, if you don't work like 12 hours and it's like 11 to 7 or 12 to 8 or 10 to 6 at night to morning, it's probably one of the best shifts when your kids are a toddler going to school, because you wake up, or the kids wake up, you're there when you're home, you're there when they wake up, you get them to school, you sleep while they're at school, and then you wake up when they get home, and then
that's
you're
good. Yeah.
which
That's
it's
actually pretty
very
good.
interesting. I'm like, I would love shifts like that, but 7 to 7 is impossible to do
Oh God, yeah.
that with.
It was something like that, I'm pretty sure. Because I just remember did breakfast, and then like our breakfast, he would be coming home roughly. And then if it was a long night, like if something happened, of course it would be later. But yeah.
Those who
Mhm.
work at home or work day shift, I think they're very blessed, to be
Oh
honest.
yeah. Oh yeah. And he was lucky because he was a high enough rank that he could have weekends off. So I think he had Saturday, Sunday, Monday.
That's
I think it was
nice.
Saturday, Sunday, Monday, something like that. So
Monday to
mhm.
get all your stuff ready for the week on the quiet
Heck
day.
yeah. Yep. And you
Mhm.
don't have to worry about like that. I liked having Mondays off when I was working too, because Mondays are chaos. Everybody comes back to the office on Mondays, and you're like, I don't want to deal with this stress. Okay. I don't want to be here. And then most people have Fridays off. It's great. So
Sounds
in the
nice.
office anyway. Yeah.
Did your like you and your sister do a lot of like hobbies, or what did you guys do during the day? Were you just left to do what your, 90s kids do, just do whichever you wanted?
So my mom ended up going back to work, and then we were in school by that point. We were in late elementary and then into middle school. So my grandmother actually moved out to Vegas, and she would pick us up from school before we got old enough to be by ourselves, and we would hang out with her until my mom got off of work, and then we would go home. And then I mean, hobbies outside of that, I mean, I was on the dance team, so I was pretty busy, and my sister, she just mostly just hung out with friends, and she did take a couple of like Japanese classes, so I don't know if she still speaks it or not, but um things like that. But we just kind of did our thing, hung out with friends, and we were never really close, unfortunately. But yeah,
What's the age gap?
dance 3 years.
3 years. See, that's a precarious, it could be great and it could be very horrible.
Yeah, it was 3 years. I think we probably would have been fine if the whole divorce thing didn't happen and there wasn't that pitting. Like if it was a normal divorce, I would say. If it was like a normal, which I know is very rare, but if it was like a normal divorce, it was amicable is the right word I guess I'm going for.
Yeah.
And it wasn't people being pitted against each other, and as kids were basically forced to choose a side. I think that it would have been a lot better, but I mean, we talk now and stuff. We're just not, you hear of sisters being besties. No,
I
not
don't
the
know
case
what
with us,
that's
unfortunately.
like. Oh, wait, Tugs and I are besties, so we obviously
Besties.
it
Yeah.
worked. Thanks, Mr. Tugs, for adopting me. We'll just say he adopted me.
Thanks, Alan. Thanks.
Thanks, Alan, for letting me go so I can be part of the Tugs family. Oh God. For me, my parents, they owned a business, so they made their hours. What would happen most of the time is we were pretty self-sufficient. We did everything on our own. Um, Unless it was like lunches early on in life, my mom would make our lunches, leave them in bags, and we go to school. And
Mm,
then, or during the summer, we would just do whatever we wanted. We'd bike around the neighborhood. We had a ton of hobbies. They wanted us to literally have all the skills possible. So, as every Asian child is put a piano, skating,
math.
swimming. They didn't want us to drown. I think, okay, there's two hobbies I would always say put your kids in if you can, some sort of music and swimming, because I just Yeah, well, you don't want them
I want to
to
do
die.
I want to do the toddler swimming classes. I
Oh
don't know
my
if
God,
you've
it's
seen
so
those
cool.
where they like
It's
put them
so
in and they
cool.
teach them to flip over. That yeah, I want to
Mhm.
do that for our my future
Um,
kids.
because yeah, you never know where they could end up in a pool by accident.
Mhm.
We don't have a
Mhm.
pool, but you just never know.
No, but
But
friends might have pools. Yeah.
that's true. That's true.
Yeah. Yeah, that was us
Uh,
too. We had to be home when the street lights were on. When the street lights
yeah.
came on, we had to be home. Oh, I
Um,
miss those
like
days.
I just think it was crazy because back in the 90s, you could do whatever you wanted, and no one batted an eyelash at a kid being somewhere randomly. Whereas
Yeah,
now
yeah.
you'd be like, where are your parents?
Well, we all knew our I don't know about in your neighborhood, but we knew our neighbors too. So like I had where
Mhm.
I lived, I had oh my gosh, now their names are gonna I can picture their faces. I had the older couple next door on my so I'm standing on my front door looking at my street. I had the older couple next door. I could picture them and now their names are completely gone. And then we had the military guy here. My best friend growing up lived just a few houses down that way. He had a bunch of people that would change houses across the street. And then at the very end of the street was another friend. So we would all just like disappear and you would just kind of call around and be like, hey, is my daughter there? Because
Is she there?
and like, oh crap, I'm trouble. But we would go up the street too, up the neighborhood, up the you can't do that now, golly.
No, you can't.
But we all knew Vicky, that was her name. Vicky was the
Mm,
military, that was the wife. And for life of me, I can't
yeah.
remember. And Robert and Vicky, our rats are buried in her rose garden. I don't know if she still lives there, but she had a rose garden and we had pet rats and they passed away. And she was like, oh, you can bury them in my rose garden. And she had the best roses. These roses were this freaking big the next year. Yeah, fertilizer.
Uh, I was gonna say the rat probably helped. Oh, she knew. She
She knew,
knew.
I know. So yeah, kudos. You're welcome.
Oh God.
Oh man.
Trying to think. What
Yeah.
other things? Oh, swimming, skating, soccer,
Gymnastics. I would say yeah.
gymnastics. We did a lot of try hobbies. Oh, karate,
Mhm.
typical. And that you do like a year or so. And I will say that did help with organizational skills. You had to
Karate
be,
did?
no, all the hobbies.
Oh, all the hobbies. Oh yeah,
Yeah.
because you have to like, okay, well, I have soccer on Tuesday and I have
When do I do
whatever
my
on Wednesday.
homework
Gosh,
and
yeah.
stuff like
Oh,
that. So
you
I
have
do think,
you have a project due? No.
oh my God, that was the worst when you had to get your stuff signed by your parents. Okay. Pre-divorce, of course, when you had to get a signature from a parent and you failed a test, who'd you go to?
Mm, my mom. I don't know. Actually, I'm not even gonna lie. I did not fail tests until I was in school, in the high school.
Oh, my dad.
I didn't really, and even then, it wasn't really. I didn't fail, but math. When I hit high school math, I struggled so bad, but I've
Oh,
never, I never. I'm not even like I'm saying it to toot my own horn a little bit, but I never like failed. I would get like C's and D's, so pretty low. Especially in math was my hardest. Like once we hit geometry and the one where you do all the fractions, I completely my brain was like bye,
doesn't
and
make
so
sense.
oh god, nothing made sense, and I was like, God bless. And so I literally every math teacher I had from junior year, from sophomore year on up to give me extra credit, and I would grade other people's, or I would write the numbers for her, or whatever stupid stuff, clean the desks, wipe off the whiteboard, and that's how I passed math with a whopping
Wow.
B minus.
Wow. Hey, B minus is great. It's an Asian
It's
fail, but it's still great.
all extra credit, all extra credit points.
Demonic rebellion. My parents were never married. My dad was in prison most of my childhood, so I'm definitely no expert on
Delicious.
marriage or healthy
Demonic rebellion
relationships.
wins.
And hey, we have I always think of Gary in terms of like if you think of like who had a very difficult child. Well, I mean, I'm not sure about childhood, but like young adulthood, and he still turned out really great. And I'm sure you are a great dude too. So, one of my cousins, her mom, um, she and her brother ended up with their dad, and one of the kids ended up with mom.
Oh.
Where that one kid had a different dad. So
Oh.
they had a very contentious relationship, the two kids and mom, and they turned it around where like she now has two kids of her own, probably one of the best parents I've ever seen, the best kids I could ever imagine. They're very nice, very respectful type of human beings, so that if you have kids, you can impart those lessons that you learn from,
Yeah.
a lack of stuff and
Yeah.
put that towards your
Generational trauma or generational your parents' mistakes, even if you have good parents, they there's something that, I'm not going to do that to my kids, whatever, is both a blessing and a curse, because that's how we ended up with the entitled generation. is
Yeah.
is people like my mom will flat out tell you, and she's not wrong. She's like, my parents come from the Great Depression era, so they raised very differently. They were very strict. They were very this, and so her and her sisters rebelled, and she was like, "I'll never raise my kids the way you raised me." Blah blah blah, and that turned and backfired on her because, or at least it backfired on me, not necessarily on her, but it backfired for me because I went from kid to best friend. She didn't want kids; she wanted best friends, and so that's what I became. And so that's not good for me. It might have been good for her, but it's not good for me. So now I'm going to take that and I'm going to flip it back around and change that generational bull crap to I will be raising my kids as kids. And then when we get older and we want to become friends, that's different. And I feel this for every kid, but you are not my best friend at 9 years old. I don't need to know about the boyfriends you dated. I don't need to know, or you don't need to know about the boyfriends I dated as your mom. Like, you don't need to know that stuff. That's not for you to know at 9, 10 years old. Like I knew
Maybe at
way too much,
16,
way too much.
17,
Yeah. I don't
I
need to know that.
think.
So you're a
Yeah.
kid, and then as you get older and you grow, then, now obviously if something traumatic happens and, you grow up a little sooner, that's different. But in general, kids are kids, let them be kids. And then once they become older, then they become friends. And then that's it. Yes, exactly. They didn't want kids. Yep. My
And
mom was born in the 60s.
and now people don't even want kids like Gen Z. They're like, I have
Yes.
enough friends. Why do I even want more relationships than this?
Yeah.
Oh gosh. It's a very between a lot of the dads that we have, it's been a theme where you need to parent your kids. Your kids are not
Mm-hmm.
your friends. You have
Yes.
to make sure you instill the lessons
Mm-hmm.
that you want onto that generation. And then hopefully eventually after uh, 18, 19, maybe even a little after, you can maybe become friends then.
Yeah. That's when it's supposed to. I think, and I don't know, because again, not an expert, only have my own worldview on it. Maybe somebody else can say, but I think that it happens naturally. We
Yes.
grow up, right? But they will again always be your children. So let's like
Yes.
not sit down and talk about our sexcapades. You know what I mean? Like there's just lines you're not
That
going to
would
cross
feel
in general, no
so
matter how old they are.
uncomfortable.
But
Oh.
my dad and I, now that I'm in my 30s, he still finds it kind of weird. But like we make grown-up jokes now. He'll say something
Mm.
and I'm like, oh, that's what she said, because now I'm in my mid-30s. Right?
Yay,
But
dad.
as a 10-year-old, as a 15-year-old, as even a young 20-something-year-old, like you're not quite there yet, but as you get older, you can make these jokes, you can make the inappropriate, kind of things. You're like, oh my God, dad,
Mhm.
kind of thing. Like, it's fine. But that happens naturally. It doesn't happen because you sit down and you're like, okay, we're going to be besties. And the first thing that we're going to learn is that men suck. And I want to do your nails and blah, 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 and this and the other. I can't.
All right.
Not a good idea.
I'm just gonna read these 2 super chats, then we're gonna get to the next part here.
Wait,
RC
while
for
you're doing that, I'm going to run to the bathroom. I got to pee.
okay. RC for $4.99 says, I love seeing you too. Plus X-Ray Girl on Hypnotic. What is Hypnotic? Am I supposed to know what that is? Thank you, RC, for the super chat, though. Chat, if you know what Hypnotic is, can you please drop it in the chat? Oh. Thank you, RC. And Andrew Matthews for 5 British pounds says, men do not help women do math. They just keep saying it's 7. Oh my God. Inches when it's 4. Andrew, are you outing yourself and saying you're 4 inches? Thank you, Andrew. Oh no. Oh, it's a channel. Oh, what is Hypnotic all about? Oh, it's a YouTuber channel? On a YouTube. All right. Oh, it's a movie? Oh, wait. No, I might be mixing it up. Hypnotic. I don't know. I'm not searching this hard for it. Ah, okay. Well, anyways, thank you guys for the super chats. All right. Tux isn't here, but I did want to get into some like
Okay,
weird
sorry.
lessons that your dad might have taught you or
Cheapers.
had rules in the house that were just a little different. One that I have mentioned before, I don't remember when, but my dad and my mom said I was never allowed to sleep over at anybody's house. I can stay as
Oh.
late as I want, especially into my teen years, 11, 12. My mom always picked me up, always, always, always picked me up, or my dad, depending on if he had to work the next day. And their reasoning behind that was that you hear a lot of men, brothers,
Mm-hmm.
dads touching kids. So they kind of
Mm-hmm.
wanted to prevent that by just preventing that altogether. So no
Yeah, that
sleepovers
makes sense.
whatsoever. And you know, people have heard stories about that where kids get, you know,
Oh yeah.
your kid's friend gets, you know, ugh, I don't even want to say it. It sounds so gross. But yeah, that was one weird thing my parents had, primarily my dad, in preventing us from doing that. And I kind of agree with that. And I like the way they did it with the teenage years where, you know, you can stay as long as you want, but we're gonna always pick you up no matter what time.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah. Did you remember the thing that you were supposed to think about, but I totally forgot? So I'm gonna just say
No.
that. Okay, cool.
I'm now trying to think of weird rules that we had. I don't know that we had any weird. We didn't really have any weird rules. We had sleepovers with my friends. No boys, obviously.
Fair.
I think there was a rule, and again, this was my mom's because she had primary custody. I think there was a rule about we couldn't go upstairs with a boy. So if we had a boy over,
the
we
privacy.
we could stay in the living room and like that. We couldn't go upstairs. And she was like eagle eyeing us. But I there was a third that I can think of.
How early did you bring boys over though?
Oh my god, I had guy friends. I mean, not any boys romantically, but I had guy friends since I was little. I had my first boyfriend in the first grade. He was so sweet. Yeah, his name was Corey. And he had the blonde spikes. Anyway, oh yeah. So I've always had more boy space friends than girlfriends. But as a kid, it was a little bit more balanced out. But we had boys everywhere all the time, just to play on the street. I used to throw. I can't do it anymore. I used to be really good at throwing baseballs. So the boys would be playing baseball on the street, and I would throw the balls for them, and just wham, and launch them down the street. And so I was their pitcher. So we had boys all the time. But if we were by ourselves, like it was just me and my friend Riley or whatever, then we couldn't go upstairs. Or if it was like and he came over, obviously he can't go upstairs.
So I'm just gonna pop this here. Demonic rebellion. Some stuff my dad taught me was hand-to-hand combat. My grandpa taught him, staff sergeant in the Marines, to always give 120% to get in the kitchen and learn to cook. Ooh, yep. I love that. I think everyone should learn how to cook, male or female, because it's just a good thing to know. I feel this generation just doesn't put forth effort. When I hear people just buying Uber Eats all the time or going out to eat, it's just sad. That's so expensive on your wallet.
Oh my gosh, I know.
Don't do it.
Don't people do it.
Yeah. Oh, I'm trying to think what other things my parents did that was different. Some of the chat's putting some stuff here. My dad forced me to go to a Goge because one day I'd be king of Sparta. Did I say that right? A Goge?
I don't know what that is. I have no idea what that is.
A Goge? Oh God. I'm so sorry, Abe. I wish I understood.
A Goge? A Goji?
At least it's not a Chris Benoit doing that to us. Don't be like Chris. Watch 300. I have. I don't remember these things.
That must be the little trial test he goes through or something as a kid.
Oh, with the cat line thing. Arr.
Yeah.
I mean, right in there. So yeah, everyone should learn how to cook. Everyone should learn how to clean. Everyone should learn how to do laundry.
A lot of the stuff, unfortunately, like my mom used to cook and stuff all the time when we were kids, like true housewife stuff, right? Baking all day. We would bake every year for Christmas. We would bake like cookies and stuff, and we put them in plates and wrap them, and then take them to all our neighbors, kind of thing. And that all ended once the divorce was finalized, and she had to go back to work. So I had to learn way too late. I was a full blown adult before I finally started like cooking, like really cooking on my own, and yeah, I had to come up with it all on my own. I would call her and be like, how many minutes do you let the eggs boil for again? Is it 7 or 10?
You can Google that now. Thank
God.
Now
you can. But Google, listen, I'm older than Google. They didn't have Google back then. I mean, they did, but it was baby. It was like, it wasn't like it is now. We had to like call or look at recipe books or, yeah. But I could do my own laundry. I did learn how to do that.
Shield wall. So he puts a good point here. I do know how to do all that, separating colors, ironing, sewing. But what if there's no baby around you? How do you learn how to prepare a bottle and change diapers?
Oh, there's always somebody that has a baby. Always.
I haven't held a baby until I was 25. Like a baby. For some reason.
Gosh, I had so many friends. Well, not friends, but like their friends that their parents were having babies still. Like they have younger sisters and brothers that are like 10 years younger than them. Then, of course, the high school I went to was not the best. And so you had literal friends that were having babies. Yeah, there's a way to learn. There's babies everywhere.
So I just remembered something else that was very different that my parents did. We had, if you get an A, you get $10. If you get a B, you get $5. If you get a C, you get minus $5. A D, minus 10. That's just the Asian parent being like, you better get good marks. And you know what? Because we did have chores and we got $3 a day for doing our chores. This was another way for us to save more money for whatever else. And to teach your kids to hopefully be more responsible with a monetary value at the end.
Yeah, I wish I had more of that. I didn't learn hardly nothing about money. My dad tried, but you can only do so much 2 days a week.
That is very true. I loved report card season. It was very lucrative for me. I wish we still did that, to be honest.
No kidding.
But did your parents I guess you, like, if you got a bad mark or a good mark, did they do anything to kind of celebrate or discipline?
We had I don't remember. I know we had allowances. I think that was for chores though. And I don't remember anything ever being taken away. I mean, we would get grounded, but I don't remember like if I got, I don't know, $5 for chores or whatever, and then I got an F in something, then I would get that $5 taken. I don't remember anything like that. Then again, tooting my horn here, I never did get enough, so that might be why. But we definitely would get grounded. Like if we came home with a bad report because we're acting out in class or whatever, we would definitely get in trouble.
What is a grounding for you? Because I think it's different for every home.
Oh geez, we had gosh, I'm trying to think. I didn't mind being grounded so much because I just had to go to my room, but I couldn't hang out with my friends. It was usually 2 weeks, depending on what I did, but probably usually 2 weeks. And then I couldn't be on the phone, no internet. I didn't get to see, like I had to go to school and come home. I couldn't hang out with my friends. So if I wasn't home by a certain time, my mom knew that I was hanging out with my friends. Things like that. But other than that, like I had my books in my room. It's different now too, because we didn't have all the technology, right? So it's like, I couldn't be on the phone was probably the worst. Although we had AOL Instant Messenger, so it was kind of, up and coming. So I couldn't do that stuff, but I still had my books. I love to read. So it really didn't bother me. Any. I had my cat. That was good.
Let's see. My version of grounding, or like, okay, when I was younger, we did physical discipline, and not where people like got spanked or anything, but we would have to do like push-ups or sit-ups, or I remember the one I hated the most. Like I'd rather do push-ups or sit-ups, by the way. The one I hated the most was my parents would have us kneel and like keep our arms up for however long, like 5 minutes.
You have to kneel on rice?
No. Because if we had to do that, I'd have to clean it up. And it's also a waste of food. We didn't waste food.
Oh, yeah. So bad too. Oh.
Yeah, that would hurt so much. But yeah, my dad would have like a chopstick in his hand and just be like, smack my elbow or hand as it like drooped lower.
Oh yeah.
Like, keep it up.
But
keep
you
it
have like
up.
the most toned arms though. I'm gonna start doing that to myself.
I was a fit kid though. And this is where like yoga is really difficult because it is way harder to stay still in a position that's uncomfortable than it is to do movement.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah.
I was trying to think. We got spanked as kids, nothing crazy, but like my mom was not afraid to whap us on the butt and be like, "Knock your shit off."
Oh God. Those European kids, I forgot which one was it, which background, but they would pick a stick from their backyard.
Oh yeah, go pick a switch.
Go pick one, and they had to find one that wasn't too flimsy or wasn't too hard. Somewhere in the middle, so it didn't hurt too much. Like,
my mom actually was raised that way. That happens a lot for the older generation. So like if you have parents that were born like the 50s, 60s, and then of course anybody older, ask them and they'll say, "Oh yeah, we had to go pick our switches."
Yeah.
That's a big thing in the older
if
generation.
You're Mexican, it's the slipper.
Chanclas. Listen, I've seen that in person. Those Mexican mamas. Oh man, they should all play like professional sports. Tom Brady ain't got nothing on a Mexican mom with that chancla. I'll tell you what. Chanclas.
Oh God. Demonic Rebellion, your dad just sounds so hardcore. He made you do it with 5-pound weights, hold your arms out.
Oh my
God. That is difficult. I thought it was hard enough just doing our own arms.
Our
own arms. You can't do that these days. You get in so much trouble. Oh yeah, the belts, the spoons. What else do people get disciplined? Like you just hand. I think my parents said that they never really hit us. The only time they did, less than a handful. My mom said it was so light, like it was a tap. It was more emotional. My reaction, at least. She told me.
Yeah, well, yeah, that happens so much, especially now that I've gotten older and you watch the kids. Most kids, especially if it's the first time you've ever done it, you've never done it before, and you whap them on the butt. Usually they're in a diaper, so they're fine and they don't get hurt. It just is like, what the heck was that? And you scare them more than anything, which is what you want because they're doing something that's going to result in their injury or whatever. I'm not opposed to the smacking of the bums. I'm really not. Like, first of all,
tap isn't a big deal.
Yeah, like that. We're padded there for a reason. All right, let's just.
And people these days like doing that for fun. So, like, calm down.
Yeah. So
there was a movie. I remember it. I think everyone does. That surrounded that whole, had to do with something with gray. So
don't take that advice.
The only time I got smacked, I expected it and knew I deserved it. Ooh.
Right, exactly. Like there were times where we never did, because by the time we were old enough to be this sassy, where our parents were divorced, so it never really happened to us in particular. But I remember watching my friends down the street. The girls were a couple years older than us. And oh my God, the oldest was my bestie at the time. And she was and can't remember what she said, but she mouthed off to her dad, and he deserved it. He was kind of a POS, but she mouthed off to her dad about something and he went whap. And I was like, oh my God. She was 16, 17 years old. She just kind of backhanded her a little bit. She deserved it too. They both deserved it. The absolute vitriol that came out of her mouth. I was like, I gotta go bye.
Bye. Okay.
But you knew at that point it was like, well, I mean, what did you think was gonna happen? You said this and you acted this way and you did this thing. I probably would have backhanded you too. Okay, I'm going home now. See ya. Woo! Man, she had to have been 16, which I know sounds young, but if you know anything about teenage girls, But yeah, just whap.
Consequences.
That was his. outfit of choice, the wife beater with like the baggy, picture like a Italian New York, Brooklyn guy living in Vegas. Like, yeah.
Okay. Shilwall brings up
Love
a
that
good
family.
question
Love
here.
them.
At what age did your parents stop doing corporal punishment? In my experience, for boys, it is when they get big enough to start hitting back. Whew, I think physical punishments like was when I was like single digit age, like the
Yeah, I
actual
was
like
little.
smacking. The workout punishments stopped probably around 12, 13-ish.
Oh, wow.
But they knew where to hit it where it hurts the most. So internet was thereafter. My music player.
Yeah.
Cell phone when I had a cell phone in my teen years. And so it's really interesting. Whereas like now today, you kind of do need those items to do your work, like a laptop or computer.
Mhm.
So how do you mitigate that? Like an iPad sometimes is even like a laptop equivalent. So I don't know.
Yeah.
What
So many
about you?
so many schools nowadays are solely on, like, even my nieces had to have iPads for schoolwork, and I'm like, how are you going to punish these girls? Like, is it only? Luckily, the school only had, like, they had it only set up so you can only go on the school's network or whatever, so that worked out. But I'm like, the heck. Yeah, corporal punishment. I was gonna say the physical stuff. We never really got whacked a lot anyway, but it was probably we were little. I mean, it wasn't much. It was once we started understanding no and bad and all the stuff like that kind of ended. It was more of like us being whapped on the butt was don't touch that. That's hot at 3 years old. That's hot. Don't touch that. Don't touch that. That's hot, like on the butt, right? To get our attention because we're about to third-degree burn our hands on the stove because we're in everybody's business. That we're little, right? Kind of thing. So it ended like super young. I never got whacked as a kid, as an older kid or that. So it was when we were little. Well, my sister could scrap with my dad, so I would have paid to see that, honestly.
Ah.
I would have paid good money to watch
That
him
would be
whap
funny.
her one for being her. She'd fight beyond. I really would have paid to see it.
I didn't know this is a Greek thing. So physical punishments, because he's Greek, Nick the Greek, even to this day in my mid-30s. Oh my
No,
God.
but does your
Whack
Greek
on the head?
family do the whap on the head? That's the Italian
That's
thing
what
too.
I'm
Just,
thinking.
you're like, ow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cell phones, I didn't have one into my 30s.
I
Well,
had a track
so
phone.
because we had to take like public transit to go to school in high school and our last year of middle school, because the first half of the year, what we actually did, and this was so difficult because I hated calling cards. You had to call the number first, put the pin in, and then call the number. Once you did that, I would have to call my mom. We're leaving right now to go home because it'd take about 45 minutes to get home. And then we call when we get home. That way, my mom, if we ever got kidnapped, I think my mom and dad really thought we were going to get kidnapped at some point.
No, my
later on
parents
our
did.
year.
My mom did too. We actually had a word. We had a safe word. So like if when we were kids and especially after the divorce, but when we were little too, when we were waiting at school or if we were at school and somebody came to pick us up and we didn't know who they were, and they were like, "Oh, I'm a family member" or whatever, you would ask them for the password. We had a whole, like, everybody knew our family password. It was strawberry. I'll never forget it. And so my grandparents knew it, my uncles, and everybody knew it. Hey, this is our family password. So if you go to pick up my sister or me from school, you have to give them this password. And we learned to ask for it. And that was a big thing. We had a big family password, strawberry.
Love it. Love it. So, yeah.
Yeah.
When did you get a cell phone?
I was in high school, I believe. I had a track phone though. It was prepaid minutes, prepaid all that stuff back when text still cost 25 cents a text message.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
remember
and
that
so
first
all
bill.
I could do really was talk on it. I only had a limited number of minutes, and it was one of those prepaid before track phone. I mean, track phone I think was new at the time, so it was like really the only. It was before Apple and everything, I think, or right around the same time. So it was one of those prepaid. I like that phone though. It was a
I
flip
love
phone.
T9 texting. Oh, it was so
Yeah,
much
I
better.
miss it. Click, 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 click,
And you could
click.
text without even looking. because you just
Yep.
knew how many times
That's
you had
how
to
I
press
did it
the
at
button
school, just under
under the
table.
desk. Those were the days.
You can't do
And
it now.
like I said, I got my first cell phone was at grade 8, only for because the call cards were horrible. So I'd just call them with the cell phone, call them with the home phone when we got home. And then when I got my real first cell phone, I think I was in grade 10.
Oh wow. I
Yeah.
can't remember when I got my actual first phone. Probably college.
I got it with my own money though.
Nice. I think I was in college.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, I saved my own money, but we signed up for one of those 2-year plans and got a
Oh
really
yeah.
crappy phone. And, from then on, and I found out how much and how expensive those are. Because my parents did say, once you get a job, you're paying for it all on your own. And I was like, oh, I'm so excited to have a job. I'll have so much money. I can do whatever I want. And little did I know, you actually didn't make that much money. And
Nope.
my minimum wage when I started working, and I remember my dad telling me, because his was like, I don't know, $2-3 or something. Mine was $8. What was yours?
Ooh, a whole $8. Wait, for which one?
When you started working, $8 per hour.
Oh
What about you?
God. I started working, I was 16. And it was at Hollywood Video. I think it was like $6.50.
Oh,
Whatever the minimum wage was at the time, and I don't remember what year it was.
yeah.
2006, 2004, maybe.
I think I remember my dad telling me so much financial advice, and I definitely did not listen to him. He's like, save your money for a big thing. You don't even know what you need. It could be an emergency thing, surprise, but save. And it's very funny because even when I was making my what's the word for it? Allowance money.
Oh yeah.
I would spend it on stupid stuff like the vending machine.
We
all the
always spend it
time.
on dumb stuff. Oh man.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And so I think for me, just my younger brother listened to my dad, and my older brother and I did not listen to him at all. Younger brother is a saver, and it didn't hit until the credit card, the first one you ever get, and then you overspend it, and you're like,
Oh God. Yeah. Oh no, yeah, it's bad. I still am such a girl with that stuff. I don't. That's just gonna let Duke handle all that.
Oh no.
It's my end.
Thanks, Duke.
Yeah.
Oh God, I do wish that money aspect was ingrained so much more into our heads.
Well,
And
I feel like so many people don't explain it right either.
my dad definitely
so
did not
confusing.
explain it
Especially
well
to
for me.
girls. Like, yeah, us girls are like, what are you talking about? We don't understand what that means.
I went into the wrong business too. I went into like the spa business where you spend so much money to look good.
Yup.
The result is an empty wallet.
Mm-mm-mm.
Oh, trust me, psychotic. I do too.
Meh.
But I'm a lot
Same.
more
I'm trying to be
stingy.
better.
Very stingy.
I'm trying to be better about it.
God. And I think that financial literacy, like both my parents had great financial literacy. Just they don't know how to do it for kids. Except for my younger brother, who just doesn't want to do anything. He just stays at home.
Yeah. Yeah. Some people it clicks for. I'm not good with numbers anyway, so it definitely wasn't going to click for me, especially sitting down listening to my dad go on about, well, the mortgages and the blah, 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 blah. I still, nothing for you. I got nothing for you. You have to give me a visual representation, okay? Give me a picture. If Barbie has 10 cell phones, you know what I mean? Like, girls, we learn it so differently than boys do, especially, and this is where it comes in, like, getting married young before you can do all this damage to yourself as a girl, because there statistically, okay, obviously there's exceptions, don't come for me. Statistically, women are not there. We're not there with that kind of stuff. It's not our forte. Okay, you can give me mortgages, stocks, all that stuff all day long. You're speaking gibberish to me. I got nothing for you. Don't understand it. Our brains are not wired that way, right? So, but boys, statistically, generally can understand that kind of stuff. So many men are better savers than women because of it. And it's just like, Anyway, I've never had it explained to me really all that properly. So we try our best. Okay. We try our best and we just try not to get into debt. It just doesn't. Ugh. Frivolous spending is my therapy. Yeah, I know. That's the other problem, especially, and that's the thing with women too, right? What is our retail therapy? It's gonna be fine. It's gonna be fine. Who are we talking? Mongoose. What'd you say, Mongoose? Where'd you go? I remember when I first started working, I was paid £1 an hour. Oh gosh. Shizo. I remember watching an episode of a show where a young woman admitted to having maxed out consecutive credit cards and was on her third that was paying off debts incurred through her. Oh my gosh. I can't even judge her. I think I've been there. I've been there, done that. I'm not perfect, guys. I know. I'm trying to find this video. Kevin Cooney did a video, a reel about credit card debt. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is the first time it's ever made sense in my head. Let's see if I can find it now. Oh, here we go. This is it. I found it. All right, we're gonna play this while she's gone. Oops, wrong button. Hopefully this shows up for you guys. I know my camera's being stupid. Kevin Cooney, who I follow, love him. You guys have, if you follow me on Instagram, you've seen me share his videos before, but he did something about debt. This is the video he posted about debt, and it finally, which is weird, but I was like, oh my God, if this had been explained to me years ago, and maybe not with wine like he does here with his wife, but I might have understood this better than hearing want, stocks, want. Anyway, here we go.
Not a lot of people know how interest works in either student loans, credit card debts, you name it, you probably got it, all right? So I want to show you how interest rates work with wine, okay? She's going to drink. The wine that's in her wine glass represents her current debt, okay? So why don't you go ahead and make a payment there, just keep sucking that down. Here's interest, right? This is interest. And, you got to really pay that down to pay down the interest and principal. You're going to be wasted unless you take massive action and pay that shit off. Well, pay your debts, gang. Woo! She's hammered, a.k.a. a lot of debt.
What is this?
I was telling them, did you watch that? Did you get that whole video?
I just saw something about pay my debts.
Okay, so I was telling the chat, I'm like, statistically speaking, we girls can't wrap our brains around like the numbers part of interest and debt. Like, yes, there's exceptions out there, okay, but for the most part,
you're not an Asian.
Well, that too. But for the most part, as a general rule, men understand that stuff more than girls. And Kevin Cooney, who I've shared his stuff all the time, posted this video with his wife, and I was like, oh my God, if somebody had explained it to me this way, even without the wine, like it would have been soda or whatever, like I probably would have understood it way more than my dad sitting me down and having me look at like stock number. Like nothing. Anyway, this is what he did.
Interest works in either student loans, credit card debts, you name it, you probably got it, all right? So I want to show you how interest rates work with wine, okay? She's going to drink. The wine that's in her wine glass represents her.
Oh, I have an idea what he's going to do.
Why don't you go ahead and make a payment there? Just keep sucking that down. Here's interest, right? This is interest. And, you got to really pay that down to pay down the interest and principal. You're going to be wasted unless you take massive action and pay that shit off. Oh. Well, pay your debts, gang. Woo!
Okay, wow. Time to party. I love it.
You can see my comment on the top. It says, thank you for finally explaining it in a way I understand.
Love it.
That's my comment. Anyway, I was talking about the chat about how women, like the numbers aren't really our thing as a generalization. I know there's exceptions, I know, but as a general thing, like numbers aren't really. So if somebody could explain it, I'm going to explain it to my daughters this way. Maybe not with wine, maybe with like juice or something, but I'm just going to be like, this is interest. Don't be this guy. Okay, great. Perfect.
Yeah. Exactly.
App that this is demonstrated. Yeah. He posted that video and I was like, oh my God, it finally makes sense.
Dry January is going really good so far.
Yeah.
9 days so far.
I am, I've been majority dry January.
I love it.
What? I swear this is water. Muso.
We'll see at the end of the stream how you are. Jason Webster for 5 Australian. Thank you so much. Says, hi, X-Ray Girl and Tugs. I hope you both have enjoyed a great start to the week. Aw, that's so sweet.
Aw,
Yes, I have.
thanks.
Have you, Tugs?
Yeah.
I've
What
mostly
is today?
been
Tuesday.
doing like administrative work. It's very boring, and unfortunately, it's taken away from streaming and other videos that I wanted to do. So
Ooh, boo. No, it's been good so far. Duke left me yesterday. Not really, but he left me. He left back to Houston yesterday. So I'll have to call him here in a few minutes to say hi as he goes to work.
I miss
You.
you.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's hard when you
Oh, look, my camera's working.
I know you are
Hey.
actually clear. It's very weird. I love it.
I don't
Keep
know
it
what
going.
happened. Sorry, guys. I know we're now that the stream is like reaching its end. The camera's working. Yay!
Andrew Matthews for £2 says Demolition Man 1993. How much did it predict? Now, first, Tugs, have you
Everything.
watched it?
Oh yeah. Love that movie.
Okay.
It's been a while since
Okay.
I've seen it, but oh yeah. And it was predicted everything except the Taco Bell thing. Although debatable.
It's still I would think that McDonald's would win over Taco Bell, but that's just me personally.
Yeah, I'm thinking now instead of Taco Bell like in Demolition Man, it's Chick-fil-A.
I
feel like
people hate
Chick-fil-A.
Chick-fil-A because it's run by
That's fair, but they still
Yeah.
go. You always see the Tiki Takis, and I was like, oh, we're gonna go with
It's
Chick-fil-A.
so yummy. It's so interesting. The only thing I wanted to know so bad, what do the 3 seashells do? How are you supposed to use it?
Oh, in Demolition Man?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't wait to ask that to a bunch of nerds.
That has
Thank
been so
you,
long. I
Andrew.
think I need to rewatch it. Ooh, maybe I'll do a watch party.
I do think that it would be very cool if you can implant the behavioral modification to put in a skill, kind of like how in the Matrix they learned how to fight by just uploading stuff. And same thing with this. I don't know how they uploaded it. It was while they were in cryo, but if I could learn how to, I don't know, be a better content creator, I don't know.
Yeah.
Oh, that would be great. It would be great. So yeah, I'm guessing most of chat has watched that movie.
I would imagine so. If you haven't, go watch it. It's Sylvester Stallone and Sandra Bullock, I believe.
Yes.
Baby Sandra
She's
Bullock.
So
She's young.
This is pre-nose job Sandra, because she's got a cute little button nose.
I don't know when she got that nose job. I didn't know she did it until I watched that movie that came out. Was it last year? With Channing Tatum, the Lost City of D or whatever it's called, that really cute one. It was the adventure one that they did together. And I was like, something is off. And I don't know when she got that nose job, but sis, why? You had such a cute face, girl. Why?
Yeah.
Every
now
time.
It's too pointy for my
it doesn't suit her at all.
Yeah.
Sad. It's sad.
And here, this is interesting for all ages. Some dads are stingy and never get ahead because they count every penny and being cheap, even though they have millions in the bank. But what is getting ahead? Maybe for them, they're happy having that in the bank. I don't know. I feel like if you want to spend your money, spend it how you want it. But just know there's always repercussions. For people who are stingy, you just don't go on as many adventures. Finding that balance between too many adventures or too much money in the bank is really tough. And for me, I like to spend on... Let's see. Right now, the trips, I did one trip last year for myself, and the rest of them were for work. So I don't want to count those specifically as personal trips. But of course, I had fun on them too. I don't know. Tugs, I feel like traveling is difficult, right? For average American, I don't know, because I don't think I fall in the average scale.
I mean, it can be. It depends. I mean, I had no problems with it, but I was also working. I'm not working anymore, so it's a big adjustment. That's been interesting. So it's like I just want to go and go to Disney and with Duke's schedule, obviously we can't, and then we just moved, so we've got like catch up on finances and like all stuff. So yeah, it's interesting, but you can do it on a budget. Like there's budget airlines. There's, if you live in this place and calculate, your drive, you can go a couple of hours and you can be in a whole new place. Like from Houston to Galveston, it's like two completely different worlds. It's a little cute little sea town. Galveston's a cute sea town right there on the water. And it was 2-hour drive from Houston, which is a 3-hour or 2-hour drive from where we're at now. So a 4-hour drive in total, and you're in a total completely different place. So
That
as long
sounds
as you
fun,
budget
yeah.
gas,
It's
you
not as
can.
bad. And
Yeah.
and who was it? Oh, here, JB. Traveling varies a lot. Little trips,
Mhm.
like you said, your
Yep.
example, are very cheap. 2 weeks in Europe, very expensive.
Yeah.
And
Well, and that
I-
depends on how you do that too. Because
Yeah.
if you decide to
out
go to
every
Europe in
day.
January, that's going to be cheap
Not
as
bad.
shit. You know what I mean? Like that's going to be
In
super
July
cheap. If
and
you
August,
super
ooh.
not so cheap, right? Christmas
Eh,
depends on where you go because it's popular. Like in Germany, super popular at Christmas because of all the decorations. Is it popular because of the weather? No. So the prices aren't like super high, but
Yeah.
it just depends. And then you can, if you're one of those super adventurous types, I wouldn't do this just because I'm a big chicken. You can stay at hostels. I know I watched this girl on YouTube years ago, and kudos to her, especially as a female, who backpacked across Europe all by herself and stayed at people's houses. Like she met people along the way and crashed on their couch and would like
couch
help.
surfing.
Yeah, and would like help them clean their kitchen or whatever as payment, or bought them groceries as payment or whatever. And so that's really cheap. That just cost her a plane ticket. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
there's ways to do it. But
My dad primarily, and my mom. So when we go traveling as a family, what we used to do is we would get a burner. So we have just like a gas burner and a pot and just like tons of water so you can make like ramen on the way. And this is like budgeting while you're traveling, because flights for 5 people in a family, because we had 5, is expensive to go to like Florida. So what we would do is drive in a van, the typical soccer mom van. We would bring food on the way. We would have water, big cooler full of stuff, and that would minimize your costs. And then we would try to get a place, not a hotel if you can, or if it's a hotel, one with a kitchen. They didn't have Airbnbs back in the day. And they would cook most meals except for like dinner, so that you could save up on that. Or if you're like out shopping, you can go for lunch or something like that. And that will cut down your traveling costs significantly. So if you have access to hot water, you can do like oatmeal, ramen. Those are the 2 main ones that are easiest, I think, for weight and size. At least the little packets of ramen, not the circular ones. Those ones they take up a lot of space.
Yeah.
But yeah, God. Oh, you do instant coffee too, so you don't have to buy coffee. That was before K-cups existed, so.
Yeah. And before there were coffee pots and literally everywhere. We also, I would take, I usually stay at like a Hilton or something when I go places, which are not super expensive depending on where you go. But if you stay at even the cheaper hotels, like the Quality Inns and stuff, they usually have like a continental breakfast, and you just pack your bag. Like if you're going to the theme parks, for instance, or you're going hiking for the day, you pack your bags with the
bagels and stuff like that.
The bagels, and throw them in your bag. You got
yes. Oh, and my dad, he's so funny. The way he packs clothes, he rolls them all up, and it actually fits way more stuff in it.
Yep.
I mean, when I'm lazy, I just throw it in there. If I know
military
I don't
way
have
of
a lot,
doing it.
yeah, I'll just toss it all in. But if I know I have to pack a ton in, he's really good at clothing Tetris. Okay. Oh God,
yeah, that's a big one. You wear your bulkiest shoes in your bulkiest coat, like if you have one, if you're bringing a coat, and then everything else you put in there. Yep.
Easy peasy. Now we did have a couple questions. They're essentially the same thing, but Psychotic Mongoose and Jonathan Stevie said, what's the most memorable bit of advice your dad ever gave you? Psychotic as a kid, Psychotic Mongoose asks as a kid, and Jonathan didn't really give an age range. So, I think the most memorable one my dad gave me was, in the end, this is not going to matter when you're mad or upset. Like you can't let it take over your life. And I think at that time there was like a bit of bullying and a bit of like identity crisis. Kids go through that all the time. And he's like, you're going to barely remember this and you're probably going to be better off without it. Just, it sucks now, but just push through it. There's nothing you can do. They suck for doing that, and you can call them out, and that's as much as you can do. If there's more that they do, then maybe talk to a teacher, and then if it doesn't get resolved, they want you to get upset. And then I think that's where it kind of clicked in my head, because with my brothers, I did get upset a lot at them as well when they made fun of me. And that really did change after that. So I don't know. That's the one that I remember the most for some reason. What about you, Tugs?
I'm trying to think. Well, there's the one I brought up on Dadcast last week, which is more of a funny one, which is like everybody on the road's trying to kill you. But also, he used to talk about, and I don't know about it being advice necessarily, but he always said to learn the art of the schmooze.
Oh,
he called it the art of the schmooze. And I'm like, Dad, what is that? So like, my dad could be in a room of people he abhorrently hates and wishes death and destruction upon, and you would never know it because he's schmoozing. Right.
And that's something that I think
play the game, basically. Learn to play the game. Yeah.
Like people on Twitter. Why are you getting so upset about someone else's opinion?
Yeah. The art of the schmooze. And like, you're gonna work for a boss that you're gonna hate. He was completely right. He's always right. He's always right. My dad's always right about everything. It's really, really annoying. But he's like, you're gonna work for a boss that you hate. But you can't let them know that you hate them. You have to schmooze, right? The art of the schmooze is what he used to call it.
For me, when I started working, I totally understand what your dad's saying. It's like you work with, I don't know, where my last workplace, where was like 60 people at least within my department, and then the entire department was like 150. So you had to be nice to everyone. I mean, I'm a nice person regardless, I think. And, I didn't really have problems with people, but even if I had problems, as long as we're respectful to each other, then that's fine. We don't have to like each other. We just have to work well with each other. And
he's not talking about kissing booty. He's talking about playing the game.
Yeah. It is
you have
just
to play the game.
Being respectful,
playing the game
and nice, but not overly that word.
Yeah, you're not kissing their butt, but you know that they're full of crap. So you play along. You play the game. That kind of thing. I did the art of the schmooze.
Oh god.
That's what I used to
when this is when you have to keep your cool. When you have that one employee that is lazy and they're, pawning off work to people, what I'll do is be like, hey, this printed off. You want to take care of it? I'm working on something right now. I'll help you afterwards. And that's the thing. You have to be helpful as well as direct. Because if you just boss someone around, you're not supposed to do that, especially if you're lateral to them. Otherwise, people think you'll be bossy. It's very hard to balance that schmoozing, as you say.
But, that's always his thing. The artist. And my dad is talented.
This do not make waves.
Oh yeah, that's
essentially it. Okay.
Yeah. So, you play the game. It's like a game of like all politicians play the same game, right? Whether that's you agree with it or not. It's all
Hollywood.
Politics. Yeah,
Hollywood does that. You don't know which connections are going to be getting you your next job. Essentially,
politics of the workforce, especially. But yeah. So that was always his. I'm terrible at it. I'll tell you straight to your face that you annoy me. Which is probably why in the workforce, at least, I've never been a leader. I was a supervisor once and I hated it. And I never got promoted again after that because I don't got time to be doing that. No.
Here, we got some other people here giving their memorable advice. If you have some, drop it in the chat. My father's most memorable piece of advice was, and this is from Jason Webster, if there's something you feel you would love doing or want to do, do it. Oh.
Never work a day in your life if you love what you do.
That is true. That's very, very true. Laughing gasser. I'm not reading that. Oh God. We also have another question from Demonic Rebellion. Very active in the chat today, Demonic. What is a quirky personality trait your father has that you notice in yourself? Ooh. Okay. I never thought I'd be like this, but at home, I am a complete slob when I'm not on stream. My dad is very similar, where he wears just like track pants, and he has like the same shirt from like 10 years ago. I could tell. He's okay wearing it. Just little things like that. What
I'm trying
else?
to think.
Oh, he does this thing, and I've noticed sometimes. No. No.
I've seen you do that.
No.
I've seen you do that. I'm trying to think. I just texted Duke. I just texted Duke to see if he knows anything off the top of his head. But the one just came to me as I was like thinking about it. My dad and I pace. We can't sit still. So like he literally putters around the house all day and like cleans and finds stuff to dirty and then clean and then is like, oh, I think that this handle might slightly be off kilter, and so he'll straighten it even though it's perfectly fine. Like he can't sit still all day. He just putters around. So I have noticed that when I'm now, especially now I'm not working, it's gotten even worse, but on the weekends that's all I do is I putter.
Oh my God.
I just putter around the house. Like today I was up and down and wandering around the kitchen and doing little stuff here and there and this, that, and the other. And I'm like, oh my God. I'm my dad.
I'm like my dad.
He and I also share our and I've toned down as I've gotten older just to be like more feminine. But I hit it with Duke the other day. I was being super sassy. But my dad and I can hit you with the zingers sometimes. My dad's always. But me, I get my sarcastic responses and my sarcastic like snarkiness from my dad. Like he's the one that when the 4-year-old, and this happened to my niece, this is why I know this. When the 4-year-old comes up to you and he goes, oh, as you're cooking eggs. All right, my oldest niece came up to him one time and was like, Papa, are you cooking eggs? And he's like, nope, this is a turkey. Right?
Oh,
and you're like,
wait, my brother and I do that too to each other. Be like, what are you doing after this? Something. Something what? Out. I'm going out. Where are you going? Canada.
Out. Yeah, are you going for a walk as I'm on a walk? No. Okay, Duke says my wit, my conversationalism, I didn't even know that was a word, and that you putter exactly like him. Yeah,
you putter. I love it. There's one more thing that I definitely do that my dad does a lot. Where he says, when it's like when Italians go mamma mia, he goes,
oh,
Aya! And I go, Aya! I see the dogs do something, Aya, what you doing? It's so Asian. I love it. And no. Oh God.
I like that, the patrolling gene. I like that. Anywho,
my niece
anywho.
Yeah. I love it.
Yeah, the sarcasm is strong with us. Oh man, my dad, and the way he tells a story, he kills me. He cracks me up. But I'm not that good at telling stories, but be a
good storyteller is really hard. And we have Mike has bad knees with another question here. What is one physical feature you inherited from your dad that you really like and one that you really hate? Okay, I really like my calves, which I got from my dad. So I have nice calves. My mom has teeny tiny like skinny calves, so
hold on.
Calves are genetic.
I'll pull up a picture for you guys to decide. I don't think I really inherited anything from my dad. Maybe we have similar noses, but even then, I kind of have his lips a little, maybe. Hold on, I'm gonna find a picture. I know I have one somewhere.
One that I don't like.
Okay, here we go. Can you guys see that?
Oh, yeah, you don't look very similar to him.
There we go. That's better.
Yeah, you don't look similar.
We have the same, I guess maybe we have the same dimples, like our not dimples, but like the way our smile, that puffiness up there by the nose, like up here. That's similar. Kind of the same nose, but not really. I think I look mostly on like my mom's side of the family, especially like as I've gotten older, there's certain pictures I see of myself. I look exactly like my mom, and I'm like, oh no.
Oh, okay. I have a lot more hair than my mom, which is not much still, but it's a lot more than my mom. I wish I inherited my mom's hair in terms of like her like body hair.
Oh, her
It's
body
still
hair. I was
not a
like,
lot. Okay, I understand.
oh my gosh, I'm a hairy beast too. Cheekbones, this right here. This is similar, I think, in my dad and I right here. But that's really it. It's kind of sad, actually. But we
What
are
about your
girls,
hair,
so.
your head hair? Is that from your mom or your dad?
No, that's my mom. Mm-hmm.
I think because we're girls too, those traits don't show as easily sometimes.
Yeah, my sister got my dad's like height. So like I'm little. My mom and I are very short. My sister is 5'7", and my dad's 5'10", and like my cousin, who is on my dad's side, so his brother's daughter is 5'9". So she got the height aspect of it. I don't know. I'm trying to think. I don't really. The only thing I can think of is like here is my similar to my dad.
Oh,
but that's
the
about
side
it,
of your
really.
nose.
Yeah, like this whole area.
I inherited my dad's skin because I tan exceptionally well as well. I don't have tiny hands though. I have regular sized hands. I think.
I do tan well too.
Yeah. Yeah, you do. You do.
Yeah,
But you haven't tanned in the last 2 years, I don't think.
Not as much as I would like to, but that's all going to change because A, I'm sick of the winter, and B, I'm too pale. I can't do this anymore.
Tejas.
Yeah, Texas.
So.
And I'm not working anymore, so now I have more time to tan.
Oh, Chilwa says that his parents were like hot. Damn.
My mom was stunning when she was young. I get it. Like, damn.
God,
I don't have any pictures.
Photos of them when they were young.
My dad, I don't have, not on me. My dad he was a teenager in the 70s, so he had the long. There's a photo of him in his yearbook walking, and his hair's flowing behind it. It looks like a freaking CoverGirl ad.
No.
Damn, Dad.
I freaking love that. Oh God. Here, we got a little warning. Careful tanning in Texas, Tugs.
I'm from Vegas. I got it. Don't worry about it.
I don't know. The only time I've ever really had a bad heat thing was in Mexico when I got heat stroke. And weirdly enough, we had Luke Caverns on Gary's Forbidden Frontier, and he had the same thing in Mexico as well. So that Mexican heat, the sun crazy.
Is. I got this. I didn't realize how different the sun was for the wedding I met Duke at April of last year. I went tanning in the morning, and I didn't realize, like, it didn't click in my head, like, the difference in sun between Arizona and Vegas, because there's so much just slightly more south than we are. And oh my God, I was like fried. Not horrible, but I was definitely not gonna burn in Vegas in the same exact temperature and weather. Like, it was wild. But Texas, I should be good. I've tanned in the humidity and stuff before, so I'll be all right.
Love it. All right. I think we're going to wind the stream down now. I feel like we had a good chat in, unless anyone has any questions. But in the meantime, Tugs, do you have anything coming up you want to share? You want to plug your channel?
I'm going to try and go live on Kick and Twitch in a little bit. We're going to see how the internet holds and restart my computer and all that. I'm going to try and go live in just a little bit. So probably about 20 minutes or so. Other than that, I don't have anything crazy coming up now.
Nice. Yeah. Perfect. If you aren't subbed to my YouTube channel, please do. I am going on a little road trip down on Thursday to south of the border to see who knows. That'll be a surprise, and there will be live streams of that particular instance. So if you want to watch, please sub over there. And yeah, tomorrow we are gonna have a sip and chill, and the internet always has a lot of good stuff.
I'm so thrilled. I can't wait to see what we come up with this week.
You know what? This was kind of nice because we don't get to talk about our own personal dad stuff. So I kind of enjoyed it. I hope
Yeah,
you
this was
guys
nice.
enjoyed it too. It was very calming. I actually did feel a little therapeutic, like talk about my past
Yeah.
in a positive way. So
Yeah.
yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed that as well.
Good.
So
I'm
yeah,
seeing yes. I'm seeing yes in chat.
lots of yeses. Yeah. This is good. Thank you. No Snickers bar. I'm on keto. Okay. I need to keep on keeping on. I have a pulled chicken waiting to be eaten for dinner. And I'm
Yum.
not, oh, I say I'm not hungry, but I'll probably still eat it anyways. Thank you, Abe. So yeah, I hope you guys have a very good evening. We'll see you tomorrow, 9 p.m. Eastern. And yeah, I'll see you guys next time. Bye. And let me find it.